Two terrible desires, money and sex, how they control our lives. What does the Buddha teach about these desires? Have you ever wondered why sex has such a powerful pull on us? It's more than just the physical act, it's a magnetic force that taps into something much deeper within our psyche. Much like the craving for money, sexual desire isn't just about the act itself, it's about what it promises: pleasure, freedom, connection, and power. These are feelings that everyone seeks in one form or another. But here's the catch: as natural as these desires are, they can quickly spiral into something much more consuming, an obsession. In today's world, nearly 95% of our mental and emotional energy is often spent chasing two things: money and sex. We find ourselves relentlessly pursuing them, believing they will bring fulfillment. Yet, despite all that chasing, we often end up feeling emptier than before. As if we've been running after something that just can't fully satisfy us. So, how do we deal with this powerful, magnetic force of desire, without letting it control our lives? Can we embrace these cravings, without losing sight of our deeper purpose? Is it possible to enjoy the pleasures they offer, while still living a meaningful, balanced life? Today, we're going to explore why sex and money have such a strong hold on us, and how we can find a way to live with these desires, in harmony with who we truly are, without letting them take over. Let's dive into the psychology behind these powerful forces, and uncover how mindfulness and self-awareness can help us regain control, leading to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Part 1. The power of money and sex. Let's break it down. At its core, money is simply a tool. It grants us access to the things we desire most: comfort, status, and freedom. We often think we want money for its own sake, but what we're truly after are the benefits it provides. With money, life becomes significantly easier. You no longer need to worry about the basics of survival. And you gain the freedom to make choices that align with your personal desires. Whether it's traveling to new places, enjoying luxuries, or simply having the peace of mind that comes with financial security. Money is a powerful enabler. It's not the cash itself we crave, it's the freedom, the flexibility, and the opportunities it opens up in life. Sex, in a similar way, isn't just a physical act, it's the intense emotional and physical highs that come with it. When we experience sexual pleasure, there's a rush of energy, a powerful sense of liberation. It's not merely the act of intimacy that attracts us. It's the deep euphoria and the connection that accompany the experience. Much like money, what we truly seek is not the act itself, but the profound satisfaction and the sense of freedom it brings. These desires, money and sex, are not inherently bad, but they are often misunderstood. The key lies in understanding what they represent, and finding a balance that lets us enjoy their benefits, without allowing them to consume us. Part 2. The danger of obsession. Here's where the real danger lies: when we allow money or sex to control our lives, they stop being tools, and start becoming obsessions. What was once a source of enjoyment and pleasure, becomes a force that dictates our decisions, and shapes our actions. It's easy to get trapped in a cycle of wanting more. More money, more pleasure, and before you know it, you've lost sight of what truly matters. Your thoughts, once your own, are now completely consumed by these cravings. Obsession with money or sex is like a silent sickness. It doesn't happen overnight, but slowly, it eats away at your mental and physical well-being. Picture trying to focus on something important, your career, relationships, or personal growth, but your mind is constantly pulled back to thoughts of wealth, or the next sexual encounter. This ongoing distraction keeps you from fully living in the moment, stunting your growth, and blocking your ability to live authentically. Instead of finding fulfillment, it's a never-ending downward spiral of dissatisfaction, where the more you indulge, the emptier you feel. In today's world, this obsession is only amplified by advertising, social media, and the culture around us. We are constantly bombarded with messages about wealth, beauty, and pleasure. Every ad, every post, every conversation reinforces the idea that money and sex are essential to our happiness. When we start identifying with these desires, they begin to define who we are. We start believing that we're only worthy if we fulfill these cravings, leading to anxiety, stress, and a profound sense of emptiness, when we inevitably fall short of the ideal. What starts as innocent desire can turn into a prison, limiting your potential, and diminishing your joy. The true danger is losing yourself in this chase, chasing things that promise happiness, but deliver only fleeting moments of pleasure, leaving you emptier with every pursuit. Part 3. The hidden danger, the mind and its obsessions. At the core of this issue is our mind. In today's fast-paced world, external influences shape and mold us in ways that often go unnoticed. We are constantly bombarded by pressures to succeed, to fit a certain image, and to live a lifestyle that meets society's standards. The drive to be wealthy, attractive, or desired can feel all-encompassing, and the pull to keep up with it all can be overwhelming. But here's the crucial insight: what if the solution isn't about rejecting money or sex entirely, but rather understanding how our mind processes and reacts to these desires? This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness allows us to step back and observe our thoughts, rather than being swept away by them. It empowers us to recognize when we are being pulled by obsessive desires, and to regain control over our minds before they start controlling us. Instead of simply reacting to these external pressures, mindfulness teaches us to pause, breathe, and reflect. By practicing mindfulness, we can change how we relate to these powerful forces, and find a balance that doesn't compromise our well-being. Part 4. The power of meditation, observing the mind. One of the most effective tools for breaking free from the cycle of desire and obsession is mindfulness meditation. This practice enables us to observe our thoughts without attaching ourselves to them. Imagine your mind as a garden. When you plant a seed, it grows into a plant. Similarly, when you plant a thought in your mind, it starts to grow and multiply. If you sow thoughts of money or sex, they can spread, grow, and take over. However, through mindfulness, you can simply observe these thoughts as they arise and let them pass, without allowing them to take root or dominate your mind. Take the example of a Buddhist monk and his disciple. On a simple errand, the disciple becomes captivated by the sight of women bathing in a river. Every day, he returns to watch them, unable to control his urge. His thoughts become consumed with these images, blocking his spiritual progress. Observing this, the monk takes the disciple aside to teach him a valuable lesson. He compares the mind to a field, where thoughts are like seeds. If you plant bad seeds, you will harvest bad crops. To transform your life, you need to plant the right seeds. The key is not to suppress your thoughts, but to observe them without attachment. When you do this, their power over you fades away. In today's world, where distractions and pressures are everywhere, mindfulness offers a way to clear the mental clutter. It helps us slow down, regain control over our thoughts, and find balance in a chaotic world. Instead of reacting to every fleeting desire, mindfulness allows us to make intentional, conscious choices that align with our true selves. This practice empowers us to break free from the grip of obsession and live with greater peace and clarity. As the disciple continues his journey, he begins to understand that true self-mastery isn't about forcing his desires away, but rather about learning to detach from them. Instead of fighting the urge to look at the women, he starts to simply observe the thought as it arises, without judgment, and then let it pass. Over time, the power of that thought weakens, and he no longer feels controlled by it. This is the essence of self-mastery. It's about noticing your thoughts and emotions without allowing them to dictate your behavior. This story teaches us an important lesson: we cannot simply eliminate negative thoughts by pushing them away. In fact, trying to stop thinking about something often makes it stronger. The more we fight it, the more it persists. Instead, the key is to acknowledge the thought, let it be, and then allow it to fade. By practicing this approach, we create a space between our desires and our actions. In that space, we gain the clarity and peace that come from choosing how to respond rather than reacting automatically. In that space, we find the freedom to live a more balanced life, where our actions align with our true intentions, rather than being driven by fleeting desires. This is the power of self-mastery. It's not about control in the traditional sense, but about understanding and allowing our experiences to come and go without letting them take over. When we master this, we begin to experience life in a more calm, centered way and find peace in the moments that used to be ruled by our cravings. Part 5: How to apply this to your own life. So, how can you bring this wisdom into your own life? The first step is recognizing that thoughts about money or sex are not inherently bad. The problem begins when they consume your mind and start controlling your actions. The key is to observe these thoughts without judgment. When a craving or obsession arises, simply pause and notice it. Don't try to push it away or judge yourself for having it, just acknowledge it and let it pass. In a world where money and sex are constantly thrown in our faces through social media, advertising, and entertainment, it's easy to get caught up in a cycle of comparison and desire. We often find ourselves chasing after what we think we need to feel fulfilled, only to end up feeling emptier than before. But mindfulness allows us to detach from these external pressures, helping us refocus on what truly matters, living a life that aligns with our authentic values. Over time, as you practice mindfulness, you'll notice these thoughts no longer control you. Instead of being driven by every impulse, you'll become more present, more grounded, and more in control of your emotions and actions. You'll find that, rather than being a slave to your desires, you'll have the freedom to choose how to respond. This shift enables you to create a more balanced and fulfilling life, one where you are in charge of your choices, rather than being swept away by fleeting desires. In the end, it's not about eliminating these desires, it's about learning to live with them in a way that allows you to thrive, without losing sight of who you truly are. Through mindfulness, you'll find the peace and clarity that lead to a more centered, purposeful life. Ultimately, the goal isn't to reject money or sex entirely, but to master our relationship with them. These forces, when kept in balance, can add value to our lives and provide us with the freedom and pleasure we seek. But when they begin to dominate our thoughts and actions, they can derail our happiness, disrupt our personal growth, and lead us down a path of dissatisfaction. The key is to practice mindfulness and self-mastery, giving ourselves the ability to observe these thoughts, without allowing them to control us. By doing so, we create the space for deeper, more meaningful experiences. True freedom comes, not from chasing external desires, to fill an internal void, but from recognizing that we already have everything we need within us. Mindfulness doesn't just help us control our thoughts, it gives us the power to break free from the endless cycle of craving. Instead of living in constant pursuit of fleeting pleasures, we start to live life on our terms, guided by purpose and authenticity. When we learn to master our desires, we find a sense of inner peace and satisfaction that no external thing can provide. This is the power of mindfulness. It's not about denying our cravings, but about choosing how we respond to them, allowing us to live a more fulfilling, balanced, and peaceful life. Have you ever felt consumed by desires or obsessions? How did you regain control? Share your experiences with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that can help you live a balanced and fulfilling life.